So, over the last week, we've been showing you a lot of Fox News clips where they are totally against Occupy Wall Street. Apparently, these guys are crackheads and they're having sex every night and they're breaking all the laws and they're costing the cops too much money with their First Amendment rights, etc. Everything they had, Fox News threw at them. Now, you want to know one of the reasons why? It turns out that Fox News' parent corporation, News Corp, run by Rupert Murdoch, of course, has been lobbying in favor of tax havens, the free trade deals that created the tax havens, or not only the tax havens in Panama already existed and Fox News already takes advantage of them, but the free trade deal basically sanctions it and says the United States government cannot do anything to check it, okay? So Fox News, of course, loves that because they have 136 subsidiaries in offshore tax havens, okay? Countries that have been identified as tax havens like the Cayman Islands, Bahamas, etc. Do you know that that the legislators and Fox News claimed, oh, we're going to get great economic benefits for the country by doing our deal with Panama? Panama's economy is so small that it's less than half of News Corp's worth. So News Corp is worth twice as much as what the entire Panamanian economy is. Fox News doesn't care about Panama because of how it's going to help the American economy. They care about it because they get to hide all their money offshore in places like Panama. That's why they wanted to pass. Now, you're also going to be shocked to find out that Fox News and Wall Street Journal are owned by News Corp. In all their stories that they do against Occupy Wall Street or in favor of those free trade deals, never mention that their parent corporation was actually lobbying to get those laws passed and that they had a conflict of interest. Weird how they never mentioned that. At least in the stories regarding the free trade deal, that had to be mentioned, and of course it wasn't. Now, Fox News and News Corp overall is hiding a tremendous amount of money offshore, and to give you a sense of what that effect is on their tax rate, remember, we all have to chip in to make sure that everything runs, right? As I keep saying, the cops, the firefighters, we don't want the city to burn down, we don't want your houses to burn down. We need a government, right? We need to build roads, bridges, etc. So we all have to chip in. Now, we're doing our fair share, the average American citizen, through payroll tax, income tax, etc. Now, corporations are supposed to pay 35%. But since 2003, according to the public records published by News Corp, they have on average paid about 15%. So this giant corporation worth over $44 billion pays a lower tax rate than the average American. They pay about 15%. That's why they want the tax havens, because that's how they create the loopholes, so they pay very little taxes and they ride off of you. So they milk the government for all those services and all of those benefits, and then when it's time to pay back, they don't do it. And then they use their propaganda to justify it. That's what the whole point of Fox News is, so that they can have a propaganda outlet that allows them to save all that money by pushing out the message, don't ever oppose the corporations, don't ever oppose those free trade deals, don't oppose Wall Street or any of the guys we're trying to protect, because basically we're trying to protect ourselves. That's why Murdoch loses $50 million a year on the New York Post, but he still keeps it going. Why would a savvy businessman choose to lose $50 million a year every year with no hope of recovery? He does it because the propaganda value of the New York Post in the New York market is worth it alone, so that he can save 20% on taxes, which saves them billions of dollars. That's how it works.